Hello, everybody. Once again, I'm Lynn Crafton Jr., aka Zorval Chan, Less Than Guru, and today I'm going to talk about why you might want to use magic points instead of either the spells per day system of Palladium First Edition and early Palladium games like, I believe, Robotech Sentinels First Edition use spells per day, and Heroes Unlimited First Edition use spells per day. Or why you would want to use magic points instead of the PPE system that Palladium uses since Beyond the Supernatural First Edition. So, Palladium, as I've mentioned before, does not take into the D&D type of mentality of remembering spells and forgetting spells and having spell slots, etc., or even casting a certain number of spells of a level type per day. So Palladium First Edition just lumped everything together. So if you're looking at the wizard here, at first level, they cast 2 spells. Now, they get some spells. Wizards get like 6 spells that are first level, and a couple are even second or third level. And they can learn any spell at any level, unlike, say, priests or warlocks who can only learn up to their level, but it doesn't matter what level it is. So when you get up here at, say, 15th level and you can cast 23 spells, that could be 23 first level spells or 23 spells of legend. And that seems a little bit weird. Although I really do like the aspect that you don't have to memorize the spells. Now, when we look at second edition, and I don't have a second edition PDF to show you, but I do have the book here in my hands. They have PPE, potential psychic energy points. And in those PPE, each spell has a PPE amount. And I will say this, if you're using things like ley lines, which Rifts use and Palladium 2nd Edition uses and BTS uses, or an equivalent, which is something that I've used in the past, you can use this PPE system and just print it out and say, okay, we're using First Edition because I like how there's not a ton of SDC that every character has, that all of the men-at-arms hand-to-hand combat are unique to them, and other aspects that might draw you more towards the First Edition. But if you don't like these spells per day, then you can use the PPE, and that works. Now, I was doing one of those where you take a system and you do one of your favorite TV shows or book series, and I was combining them, and I know Palladium really gets sue happy and cease and desist happy when you try to take a IP that is not theirs and put their rules on it. So I won't say what system or what type of fantasy setting I was using, but it was something where there was these certain magical items that had the power in them or could boost your power, make your spell effects greater. So I did that. I basically said these type of magic items counted as these type of ley lines or ley line nexuses, etc. And that's what I did. The problem is if you don't want to have ley lines and you don't want to have to worry about these items, if you want to use the PPE at lower levels, it's okay. Although when you look at the levels, there are they're not even. So not every first level spell is the same PPE. So first level spell, we look at the lowest, such as Blinding Flash is 1 PPE, and Sea Aura is 6. And then when you go to level 2, there's some that are 6, there's some that are 3 and 5. So, and when you have something like you get into level 20, there's ranges between 25 and 100. So it really can start the difference between the same level of the difference between the same level of spell and PPE can be quite large. And then when you get into the really powerful spells, like the 14th level spells, the 15th level spells of legend, you're getting into thousands of PPE points. So one of the things, I first was going to do this. I first was going to do it, but I had forgot that I had those magic items that were supplementing the PPE and allowing you to channel more energy into yourself and therefore cast those more powerful spell effects. So I needed a placeholder. And this is one of those things where a placeholder becomes something that actually works really, really well, and it fit everything that I needed. So I wanted a point based system, so I decided to call it Magic Points. And instead of having these spells here, we look here, here's my wizard. I started him off at a base magic points of MA. Yes, mental affinity, because I wanted mental affinity to be useful in more than just one or two OCC classes, which I talked about in my getting rid of speed and physical beauty, plus 30, and then an additional D6 per level, starting at level 1. So you would take your MA, you would times it by 2, you would add 30, gives you a nice solid base, and then even at level 1, you roll a random D6. Why did I choose MA? MA is not only charisma, mental affinity could also be how confident you are in yourself. So confidence. And one of those things charismatic people that go to the dark side are known for is being a con artist. Con artist is short for confident artist. They act so confident, they're so confident in their ability, you kind of trust them and believe them. So that belief in yourself is one of those tenets of Palladium that even in their other books and in Palladium Fantasy, they always talk about is you need 100% confidence in magic to even attempt to be a magic using class. So that's why I used MA. Now for my what I call my intuitives, I use ME. So that would be your mind mages, your healers, and certain things like that. Those that have ISP, I use ME, mental endurance, the strength of their mind. So that's how I differentiate the studious arts, mystical arts, and the innate mystical arts. For priests that get granted stuff, I use magic points as well, because then it's confidence in your and belief in your higher power that is giving you these abilities. So I give them a nice base, and then how I do when they cast, I came up with a really simple and, dare I say, elegant system where I want players to be able to choose both as a conservative or just as a choice to have reasons to cast spells at different levels. So yes, if you're 5th level, instead of always having to cast your spell at 5th level, I allow you to cast it at 4th level, to cast it at 1st level. Maybe you don't need that duration. Maybe you don't. And what you can do is you can spend less magic doing it. So you can only cast it up to your level. Example, very simple. Wizard at 1st level, they might have a 2nd level spell. Because they can learn any spells. So their 1st level, they can only cast it at level 1. So that's 1. And then they're casting a 2nd level spell. That's 2. And boom, put together, that's 3 points, 3 magic points. Now, when they get to 2nd level, they could cast that 2nd level spell at 2nd level. 2nd level spell cast at 2nd level, 4 points. Or they could still choose to cast it at 1st level and only cost 3 points. And this is something that has been really cool to watch in the game when the player is making the decision, do I cast this spell at a higher level to get a greater effect, but it's going to drain me of magic points, or do I do a few lesser points? And always, to say that you're trying to get more damage, say, you're always going to benefit from casting it higher level, because say a 4th level spell at 4th level to get 4d6 is going to be 8 points. 4 plus 4 is 8. But if you cast it 4 times at 1st level to get that 4d6, it's 4th level spell plus the 1st level that you're casting at. So that's 5 points each time. So sometimes you're only going to be able to cast low because you're conserving your magic points, but sometimes you want to cast at higher level because you get more bang for your buck. So that really gives the player a lot of agency on how they're going to have their character use magic. And sometimes, as I said, you only need a little duration. But what I did have to do is I had to go through every spell. And most spells, 95% of spells, they have a reason to cast it at a higher level, whether it's more SDC, whether it's a longer range, you get a bigger dimensions for your wall spells or your flame walls, or radius will be larger, or duration. But there are some that don't have a direct benefit. So in those, you have to figure out how you're going to change the spell so that there is a reason to cast it at higher levels, such as Familiar Link. Familiar Link's a 4th level spell. You cast it, and then you never need to cast it again. What I allowed was magic points to be put into that creature, and then it could use its magic points to cast. You could cast spells through it using its magic points. And if it's, say, an eagle flying off in the distance, then it could cast farther than what you would be able to, but it would only be able to hold the magic points that you put into it through the spell. And later, as you, say, cast it at a higher level, I would allow the character to put more magic points into the creature. So you might have to come up with a few things like that. But otherwise, it has worked really, really well. And also it allows that 1st level character not to just cast 1 or 2 spells and be out. But it's not like cantrips in modern D&D where you can have unlimited. You still have to worry about your magic points. You still have to worry about maintaining. Do I want to run out? Do I want to keep a few? Do I cast it at low level? Do I cast it at high level? And things like that. So I found it has just brought in a whole new dimension to my games that has really been nice in it. And as you see here on the Wizard, since I do like giving something every level, whether that's the standard like on level 3, you choose 3 elective skills, and in level 4, you choose 3 secondary skills. I left that in there, but to fill it in, like at level 2, you gain 2 more magic points. So you get a little oomph. It's not a lot, but 2 points could be casting a level 1 spell at 1st level. So that is good. And then I use the magic points regeneration, the same as it's done for ISP, which is 2 points per hour. If you have ISP and you have like meditation, you can boost that up, and I allow the same thing. But for magic points, it's the same. After an hour, if you use magic points, you get 2. If you've used ISP, you get 2. And then again here, like at 5th level for the Wizard, magic points regenerate now at 3 per hour. So it doesn't take you as long to get those magic points up. And I kind of scaled it. So that's another an extra addition to this episode, is just give your players something besides skill percentages. Raising an hour, if it's for your melee classes, a couple of points of shock points or hit points, or for a magic user, it's getting a few magic points or ISP points, and the regeneration goes up. Let that happen. That gives you a benefit. You feel cool every time you level up, even if 2 points in the grand scheme of thing isn't a lot. But there have been so many times recently where somebody has not died because of 1 hit point, or was able to cast a magic spell because they had 1 magic. So that's just something cool. So I really recommend the magic point system. Very simple, streamlined. What spell level am I casting it at? What spell level is it? Add those together. That's how many points. A good base is your MA times 2. Add 30, add a D6. That means that 1st level character can cast quite a few 1st level spells at 1st level. But they're still going to run out. They're still going to need rest. It's not an unlimited thing. Having said that, once again, I'm Lee Captain Jr., a.k.a. Zorval Chan, Less Than Guru. And until next time, I will catch you later.